Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Band Together. My name is Paul Everts, and I'm your host. If you'd like to contact me, please reach me at my email address, which is BAND2Gather@Comcast.net. Also, please visit our website, which is one word, conductingmylife.com. It's conductingmylife.com. You'll see that we're hosting an event on the 4th of November, 2023 at the Westside Church. We want to say thank you to Westside for being the site. They are not sponsoring it, but they have offered to use their facilities for us. So that's going to be 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Roseville, California. More information is at conductingmylife.com, and I hope you will go. I'm a part of the John Maxwell team. We use Maxwell material at these events, and this event's really good. It's going to be the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and I love it. We're going to do the odd numbers in November, and we're going to do the even number laws in March. So again, more information is at conductingmylife.com. We're going through this book, one of my favorite books. And what I do is I skim the chapters a little bit and I read through them. We're starting breakthrough number 5 today, which is Don't Parent Alone. The potential breakthrough for the parent, added support. The potential breakthrough for the child, added value. So when Dr. Maxwell was 13 years old, he had one of the greatest teachers in the world. His name was Glenn Leatherwood, and he taught 7th grade boys Sunday school. When Dr. Maxwell thinks back on now, he realizes how his class was a squirrely bunch, as only 7th grade boys can be, and I happen to teach 7th grade boys now. I'm retired. Had a friend call me and said, "Paul, please come out of retirement." I said, "Okay." And I have 7th grade boys. I understand. Sometimes in class, the teacher would stop teaching the lesson, tell us how much he loved us and cared about our relationship with God. And that's interesting because that's one of the reasons I left public education, is because I could do neither. I couldn't do what he just did. I couldn't say, I love you and I cared about our relationship with God. That would get me fired. So I said, okay. Even ornery kids like us stopped poking and punching one another long enough to listen. One Sunday in particular from that year stands out in Dr. Maxwell's memory. Mr. Leatherwood was teaching a lesson on Daniel in the lion's den. Dr. Maxwell's friend, Phil Conrad, and he were sitting toward the back, and they weren't paying much attention to the lesson. Go figure, 7th graders. They were taking turns knuckle punching one another in the leg. The idea was to make the other guy cry out in pain before you did, no matter how much it hurt. Whoever got the other to say uncle first was the winner. Dr. Maxwell had just given Phil a real good shot right above the knee, the kind that makes your whole leg go numb. When Dr. Maxwell heard Mr. Leatherwood say, "I want some of you to stay after the lesson is over today," then he started rattling off names. "Phil Conrad, John Maxwell," he began, and Dr. Maxwell thought, we're in trouble. "Steve Banner and Junior Fowler. Please see me after class." Dr. Maxwell didn't know what Steve and Junior had done, but Dr. Maxwell was pretty sure why Phil and he were being called. After class, he gathered us together and he said, "Come on over here and sit down, boys." They sat in a semicircle in the corner of their basement classroom and prepared for the worst. You boys know that I pray for you and the other boys in the class. Last night as I prayed, I felt God was giving me a word about the 4 of you. Dr. Maxwell breathed a sigh of relief. I believe he was calling you into the ministry, and I wanted to be the first one to tell you. He has great things planned for you boys. I also wanted to be the first to lay hands on you and pray for you. So the boys bowed their heads. He prayed for each one of them, placing his hands on their heads. It was incredibly exciting because they all felt as if they all got a glimpse of their futures one day. Although Dr. Maxwell was not officially ordained until about 10 years later, he always considered Dr. Leatherwood's prayer for him that morning to be his official ordination in the ministry. And those other 3 boys, Steve Banner, Phil Conrad, and Junior Fowler, true to Glenn's word, all became pastors. Dr. Maxwell considered Glenn Leatherwood to be one of the major influences in his youth. He not only encouraged him to be a pastor, but he also ministered to him with kindness and affection during the difficult junior high years. He made an impact on Dr. Maxwell in a way his parents could not. He recently heard that Glenn Leatherwood died. Dr. Maxwell regretted not having heard about it until weeks afterward, because he would have liked to return to Ohio for his funeral. It would have given him great pleasure to honor Mr. Leatherwood. Several years ago, Dr. Maxwell visited him and was back in Circleville, and he asked him how many children were called into the full-time ministry out of his Sunday school classes. Mr. Leatherwood said he wasn't sure about the exact number, but he knew it was about at least 30. 30 kids, boys, 30 boys. Obviously, those 3 boys and Dr. Maxwell were not the only ones he influenced. So don't try to do it all by yourself. Going off script, being a teacher, I can tell you, the best bands that I ever had, there were positive parents involved. And frankly, positive families too, that would support the boy or the girl that was in band. There's no doubt. There it is. Don't try to do it all by yourself. You have people around you. You have teachers. You have relatives. You have friends. Most of our friends were our children's parents. Not now, unfortunately, but then it was. So this chapter is dedicated to, listen to this, those who added value to Dr. Maxwell's life as a child. Glenn Leatherwood commissioned him into full-time Christian service. Charles Conrad, that's Phil's dad. Conrad always had time for us. And look at that. That's the other thing. They always had time. Those who added value to my life as a child were people that gave them time. Are you making time for your children? Chapters dedicated to and those who have added value to our children's lives. See, we just mentioned that. My child's friends did great things for our children. And I hope that they would say the same thing about Diana and me, that we also added value to their children's lives. So, enlisting people who add value. This is Dr. Maxwell speaking. Margaret and I would like someday for you to fill your own dedication page with the names of people who have made a difference for you and your family. You can get others to help. People who parent alone are a lot like single parents who have the hardest job in the world. I agree with Dr. Maxwell, having been the son of a single parent mom. They must carry a heavy burden and cannot do all they would like to do as parents. If you are a single parent, you know what I'm talking about. But it doesn't have to be that way. Whether you're a single parent or married, you can and should get help from other people. Occasionally, a person whose influence would benefit your children will come into your life and insist on helping you, such as a close friend who loves you. But more often than not, if you want people to help in your children's lives, you will have to find and enlist them. You need to do the work. So enlisting the help of others does many things, and there's 5 of them. It extends your influence beyond your home. It allows your children to be mentored by experts. But let's be careful with experts now. Remember, this book was published in 1994. We've learned that experts are human beings, and human beings make mistakes. But no doubt, someone who's a parent and is having success, you should look to them for help. It develops your children in areas of interest where you may not be able to help. Number 4, it exposes them to other positive points of view. Number 5, it gives them positive models outside the immediate family. When you decide not to parent alone, a heavy burden lifts from you. You're still responsible for parenting your children, but you no longer have to carry the whole load yourself. People who will help you influence, teach, and mentor your children can come from nearly everywhere. Here are some ideas about the kinds of people to look for, and we'll do that next week. You just got to be aware, too, though, that you want people who are going to help your children who think like you. And that might sound cliquish, wrong, I don't care. There are people out there right now who think they're helping, they're actually hurting. Be aware of those people. In the end, that child is yours. That child is your responsibility. And remember that, that's it. Bottom line. So you're responsible who they're hanging out with too. Got to end the video. Begin with the end in mind. Every choice you make is who you are, so choose wisely. Seek first to understand, then be understood, and finally, people care how much you know until they know how much you care. I love you. Look at the description for November 4th and March 2nd. It'd be great to see you there. All right, take care, everybody. God bless, and I love you. Bye.